Welcome to Scopes Unshamed. I'm Britten LaRue, and this is an intro video where I'm sharing with you some of the background of Scopes Unshamed, what you can expect here, who am I, and how Scopes Unshamed may be a little different than other kinds of horoscopes. So, I'm Britten LaRue. I'm a 48-year-old woman living in North Texas, where I grew up. And when I was 39, I had they call it a spiritual awakening. In transit terms, in astrology terms, Neptune was on my sun in Pisces. Didn't know that at the time, but I was taking this course in intuitive healing. It was completely not something I would normally do. I was in the process of getting my PhD. I have a master's in art history, and I have 2 decades of university teaching experience, basically either a student or a teacher or a TA in universities, all of my 20s and 30s. I had 2 kids at the time, and I was just in a time where I was more open and available to try new things. My family moved to Maui from Texas. I was taking a break from my PhD studies that year. And yeah, just moving, being in that environment, I just was open. And I found myself on the floor of my teacher, Deborah Cremens, learning about intuition, like had never learned how to connect to my energy before, sense my energy field, hear my inner voice, none of that. And within months, everything started to rapidly change because I was hearing myself. I was hearing myself. And I had this very mystical experience of looking up at the moon in the summer. It was a full moon in Capricorn. I have a Capricorn moon, but I didn't know that at the time. I looked up at the moon and I felt that the moon was talking to me and the moon was telling me to come home. Within a few weeks, I asked for a divorce. It was on the Great American Eclipse. Didn't know it at the time, but that eclipse was exactly on my Saturn in Leo. And we moved back to Texas so the divorce could play out. And I Googled how to work with the moon because I don't know how to work with the moon. No one ever told me how to work with the moon. Here I am, an intellectual. And I'm really good at sniffing out teachers. So I found teachers who teach on the moon and how to create ritual and began to have a ritual practice with the moon. My brother, who was living in LA at the time, he's an artist, an Aquarius. He sent me my birth chart, got my birth time from my mom. And in September of 2017, I saw my birth chart for the first time. And I looked at it and I knew that I could read it. I knew that I just needed to find the right sources, the right teachers, and that I would be able to understand this language. And I wanted to understand what it was saying about me here in this time in my life when I was dissolving all my old identities, dissolving old attachments, dissolving the expectations I placed on myself. With the no to my marriage, I was just like, no to all of it, except being a mom to my daughters. That was the commitment that I was wanting to stay true to. Everything else just fell up for question. So in this sudden free time that I now had with 50% time of with my kids, my ex having them the other 50%, I just became a hermit and I studied astrology. Meanwhile, I'm preparing for my doctoral exams at the same time. I'm doing lunar rituals very regularly. I started a journaling practice. I'm meditating with my guides. I'm continuing to take intuitive healing and studying energy with my teacher now remotely. And it just went deeper and deeper. And I knew by spring then that I wanted to become a person who led people through transformative chrysalis like life situations to come out on the other side something else, something a little more true, and that astrology was going to be with me as I took on this role as guide and teacher and mentor. And that is what happened. So I had my first client a little after that. I didn't have a live astrology teacher till I'd been actually a professional astrologer for over a year. I really just did it because I was like, let me just double check that I know what I'm doing. But I'm a really good student. I have a really great understanding of like this pedagogy works for me and this pedagogy doesn't. And it was like I always knew this language. It just was I was fluent so quickly. And it was like I was speaking the language I had always been meant to speak. So, in 2019, I reached out to a local magazine and asked them if I could write their horoscopes because they didn't have any. And they said yes. So I started my horoscope writing back at the early stage of my career, and I loved writing horoscopes. I insisted that they were new moon horoscopes, and I got so many clients from that gig. Then, just as my career was starting to really grow, because I started offering classes, which is really my background, because my background is teaching, the editor in that magazine moved to a different magazine. And the person that replaced them wanted to like quit all the stuff that the last gal started. So they didn't need me anymore. And that was good because astrology started to take me into these new terrains that were asking me to expand what we think an astrologer is. You know, in our culture, astrology is very taboo. And we basically have been given only a few gigs. Like the gig is you do readings, or the gig is you do forecasts and horoscopes. That's all you get. That's all you get, astrologers. And I was feeling myself like wanting to break out and to do new things, which was going to mean I really didn't have time for forecasts anymore. And I didn't have time for one-on-one readings anymore because my career just started to rapidly grow the louder I got. And so I haven't been doing one-on-one readings or horoscopes in a very long time. So Scopes Unshamed is my return to horoscopes my way. So I became known for, like, more broadly known in the field of astrology for a project I did that culminated in a guest spot on the astrology podcast called Unshaming the Signs. And then that project turned into my course, Unshaming Your Chart, which I do in the winter and now in the summer too with my community living emergence. I that those two words, living and emergence, are really important in my work. I have a book called Living Astrology, and then I call my astrology emergence astrology. And I have a 3-year school program called Emergence Astrology. So, Scopes Unshamed is me returning to the art of horoscopes, horoscopos, keeping time, hour marker, where I'm going to be sharing with you by rising sign, because all horoscopes are rising sign. When I first found that out, it bothered me so much that this isn't widely known. They're by rising sign. So if you don't know your rising sign, it's a little trickier. Like, yeah, you could listen to your sun sign, but it may not resonate because part of how we see in the horoscope is we understand it through the house system, and we know the house for you based on your rising sign. So if you don't know your rising sign, this is why we need your birth time. And for some of y'all, That's not hard to get. Like, you just need to contact the hospital, contact your caregivers. You can get it. Just like my brother got mine from my mom. But sometimes that's not on the birth certificate. Maybe you don't have contact with your caregivers anymore. It's like lost through time. And so, if that happens, there are still ways that you can get support to find out what your rising sign is. And what I would just suggest for you, if that's you, is like listen to all of them. See what actually is like, oh, that's what's happening in my life right now. And maybe you never know for sure, but you enjoy listening to that particular horoscope, which probably is your rising sign. As long as it's resonating, that's the key. Something that I say is like astrology readings and horoscopes are they're part of mystery. Astrology is a mystery tradition. We've come in our culture to see it as a prediction machine, like it has answers, but it is very much helping us live with what is, and what is mystery. We actually don't know. We just know we're going to die one day. That's hard. Astrology helps us hold mystery with truth speaking through the beautiful, beautiful intelligence of the zodiac, the planets, and the houses, these different pieces of the vocabulary that is astrology. And so, what I always like to say is like, if you think you have a birth time and you have a reading and it deeply resonates with you, it's possible that your reader just like is so intuitive. They were there with you for the reading that would be most supportive for you. And then, oh, you have a different birth time. Now the chart's totally different, or the house system you want is very different. Does that mean that that reading is trash now? No, because it's mysterious how astrology speaks to us. We don't fully understand this. So, one of the first things you're going to learn when you work with me in an emergence astrology is like, we're holding this language with the deep respect for mystery that it holds, and that somehow it speaks to us no matter what, when it's spoken certain ways. So you're either going to really resonate with this or you're really not going to. Because my art is a kind of skunk medicine where you either are very attracted or you are very repelled. That's okay. That's part of its intelligence. So I'm inviting you in. Just pick up with where we are in time. I'm starting these spring of 2026. So I'm recording this before I've recorded any of them. I'm about to start recording for April. I want to do monthly. I want to honor the style of time that we all most know in common. Not everybody has yet gotten into being able to speak to lunar cycles. I welcome you into that. It's pretty amazing. But even if you go learn that and you learn to embody lunar cycles in your system, you will also still, in your system, have the Gregorian calendar, because that's what we're all agreeing to as a culture. It's not going away anytime soon, as far as I know. So I'm speaking the most common time here. Astrology is a support technology for time, among many things. It's helping us be with the gift that we have, which is time, because time is the thing we're experiencing in our bodies as humans on planet Earth. There are many times, there are many ways to relate to time. And we're going to just enjoy getting into that together here in Scopes Unshamed. So listen to your rising sign, listen to all of them if it feels fun. And I'll also say that this is for me a return to YouTube. When I first learned, I just devoured the free content in YouTube. Like, I go on walks, walk after walk after walk after walk, just like searching different plant placements, listening to horoscopes, everything that I could to learn astrology for free. Post divorce, like I didn't have a lot of money in my pocket. So I was so grateful to have the free resource that is YouTube. And I have so much affection for all the different teachers that work so hard here. Eventually, though, I started my business mostly in Instagram, and then I have a podcast and my newsletter. And it's through those channels that I began to put all my focus. And I've just been slowly adding my podcast to YouTube for, I don't know, maybe a year or so, but that's really all I've done in YouTube before because, yeah, this just hasn't been where I've been. But that's changing now. So, welcome to my channel, as they say. And I hope you will like and subscribe and comment and all the things you know what to do to help the creators here. And let me think if there's anything else I would want to say. Yeah, I just welcome you here. And I would love to hear from you how you feel the difference in these horoscopes from maybe other horoscopes. I've often found I'm a very Pisces person that a lot of what I do is sometimes hard to communicate verbally, but it is felt. So, if you want to share with me how these horoscopes feel for you, how they land for you, I would love to hear from you. In all the different show notes, you'll find other ways to connect to me in different places. And I invite you into my whole world here in emergence astrology. Thank you so, so, so very much. And I will see you inside the scopes.